buổi pháp đàm ngày hôm nay ạ. Vâng, trước khi pháp đàm bắt đầu thì xin được nhắc tất cả chúng ta cùng tắt chuông của điện thoại di động ạ. Vâng, có ai có câu hỏi cho pháp đàm không ạ? Xin mời giơ tay ạ. Có 2 người giơ tay. Chị Hạnh Tâm và em Bích. Chị Hạnh Tâm sẽ hỏi trước em. Ok, mời chị Hạnh Tâm.
Con xin kính chào A Chan Nông Bà Chôn Sara. Con được quen một người bạn ở trên Facebook. Thì bạn ấy là làm nghề là bán hải sản tươi sống. Thì con có nói chung là con có nói về nghiệp sát sinh. Thì bạn ấy bữa nay là bỏ luôn cái nghề không bán đó nữa, chỉ là bán cái hàng là đã chết rồi thôi. Thì bạn ấy có hỏi rằng là nếu như mà mình không có, tất cả chúng mình đều ăn chay hết á, mọi người ăn chay hết, thì không có ai mà để mà sát sanh hay là bắt những cái con vật còn sống nữa. Thì nói chung thì con cũng, cái hiểu của con cũng chưa có đủ để mà giảng giải á, thì con nhờ các vị thầy chia sẻ giảng giùm con ạ. Xin cảm.
She has a question. She has a friend on social network, and this friend used to do the profession of selling seafood, alive seafood. And after she talked to her friends many times, and then after that, the friend stopped this job. But then the friend said to her that if everyone in the world stops eating meat or becomes vegetarian, then there would be no being being killed for eating. Because of her understanding is still limited, she doesn't know what to say to her friend. So please help her to clarify this point. Thank you.
Sometimes people say to us, if we don't buy meat in the supermarket, if everyone stops buying meat, then there will be no killing. It's the same idea.
No.
Who can stop the world killing? Because, can you hear it?
Tiếng Việt nhỏ thôi.
Tiếng phiên dịch hơi bị nhỏ. Hải thử nói lại xem đã nghe có rõ. Bây giờ nghe tốt hơn rồi đúng không ạ? Nghe được rồi đúng không ạ? Mọi người có thể điều chỉnh cái loa của mình nữa.
Sometimes people say to us, oh, why do you buy chicken in the supermarket? Because if everyone stopped buying chicken, then there would be no more killing. But what is the cause or the condition for killing? It's not whether you or I go to the supermarket. It's whether there is anger and hatred of a degree to condition the taking of life of another being. So we cannot control the world. We cannot control the dosa, the anger of the others. So the Buddha taught about developing understanding, developing wholesome qualities like kindness, so that no thought of hurting or harming another being. But for those without understanding who have the habit of taking the life of others and not seeing the danger, it will continue on no matter we go to the restaurant or the supermarket or not. So we have to understand what is the cause of harming the others. It's one's own attachment, one's own ignorance, one's own aversion that leads to such deeds. So just to say if everyone is vegetarian there will be no killing is not true. Even some vegetarians still kill the mosquitoes, stamp on the ants, get angry with other people, harm animals, beat the dogs, and so on. So it comes back to one's own intention, one's own mental states.
In the example you give of your friend who stopped selling the live seafood because you had urged her that it was wrong to do that, it seems to me that although she did stop, yet she did so because she thought that she was doing something wrong, but she didn't really understand the wrongness, and she was still inclined to, she was doing it sort of to please you, if you like, rather than because she understood the danger in taking life. So if someone in that situation, like the child who obeys the parent in terms of behavior, there's no understanding involved there. It's just complying with someone else's urging. It is better if the person can have an understanding, and that understanding is what guides the behavior. And it's the same with any instance, including taking life. The reason that it's true that if there is demand for meat product, then people will raise chickens or whatever animal and send them off for slaughter. This is a part of life and is not going to change. The task for us is to understand the reality of the present moment, not to necessarily adjust behavior to behave in a way that seems to be more in accordance with what we think is right. And furthermore, it's not our job to persuade other people to change their behavior in accordance with what we think it should be. It's really for an individual to decide for him or herself how best to act. So to be the good friend to the other person, and I know that your reason for urging, for trying to persuade the other person, you were trying to help them to lead a better life. But the best way to help other people is to for them to understand more about the true nature of the present moment. Because tendencies have been accumulated for everyone. And there's a limit to how much life can change in a given lifetime. That will be limited by the accumulated tendencies and the opportunity that one has to hear the truth about realities and to understand that truth. So we are fortunate to be able to share the understanding as we do at these discussions. But we don't need to worry about how other people behave. That is something they are responsible for. And we don't feel the need to, and if we have expectations of other people, as we were discussing yesterday, then expectations will lead to disappointment.
Did the Buddha eat meat?
Dạ thưa có.
Yes, he did.
Yes. So we eat whatever we're given to be considerate to others, to fit in easily.
Dạ.
But the Buddha encouraged everyone not to harm the others, not to harm the other beings. So he didn't eat any meat that was specially killed for him, but any meat that's put in the bowl, like normal daily life, so that one can be easy and considerate. So there's a difference between eating the meat or the fish and killing or harming. But as Jonathan said, for the one that is fishing or slaughtering meat, they have to understand for themselves what is right, what is wrong.
Dạ, con xin cảm ơn ạ.
Thank you. Chị không có thêm câu hỏi hay ý kiến nào khác ạ? Ai chuyển mic cho sư với ạ?
Thưa Achan và chú Chôn và cô Sara, vậy thì các cái nước quốc giáo á, thì chưa tăng tới 90% rồi. Như vậy mình truyền 5 giới cho cư sĩ, vậy thì cư sĩ ngày nào họ cũng sát sanh và họ dâng đến thực phẩm đến chư tăng như vậy á, thì cái vấn đề này giới hạnh nó như thế nào?
Tức là sư đang nói chuyện là họ những người cư sĩ họ dâng cúng đúng không ạ? Thế còn việc họ sát sinh thì có phải là chắc chắn là mình biết họ giết và họ dâng cúng không ạ?
Dạ.
Tức là có những trường hợp, ý sư nói là có những trường hợp như vậy đúng không ạ?
Dạ.
Okay.
Thì đa phần là tới 90% là chư tăng ở của quốc giáo thì đều dạy Phật tử là giữ 5 giới. Trong khi đó thì chư tăng thì ăn mặn. Thì như vậy ngày nào họ cũng dâng cái đồ mặn hết thì chắc chắn là phải có cái sự sát sanh này. Điều này thì không thể tránh khỏi được.
He said that in the countries where Buddhism is the national religion, such as in some countries, and so every day the monks they give the precepts to the lay people, the 5 precepts, and they also get food from the people, and the people because these monks eat meat, so the people. The lay people are bound to kill in order to give the food to the monks. So what is your comment on this? Because it's inevitable that killing happens because the monks eat meats?
The monks eat whatever they are given. So if the lay people have strong confidence in the Dhamma and see the danger of harming or killing, then they won't kill. So if no meat or fish is available without killing, then they will just give rice and vegetables to the monks. So when there is strong confidence in the danger, the harm of killing, then no matter the circumstances, it won't occur. One won't act like that. Like now, none of us are killing or harming, and even when we leave the center, I think most people here won't be harming. So it might mean that for the monks the food is not as delicious, but the confidence in understanding and developing kusala is what is most important.
Or they will find a way to offer meat without killing. So buying meat that has been killed is not a breach of the precept because it doesn't involve any killing.
Đại có muốn nói thêm gì về chủ đề này không? Đại.
Alo, em xin nói tiếng Việt chứ? Vâng. Qua sự chia sẻ của cô Sarah thì em thấy rất là, theo em nghĩ thì nó rất là hợp lý, và cô nói là khi mà một Phật tử mà có sự rất là tin tưởng vào giáo lý thì người ta sẽ không thực hiện các hành động sát sinh để dâng cúng các vị chư tăng thực phẩm. Nếu trong trường hợp mà không có thể mua được cái đồ thịt hoặc cá thì họ sẽ cúng dường các thứ rau. Như vậy thì cái việc mà một người có sự tin tưởng vào giáo pháp thì chắc chắn sẽ không thực hiện các hành vi sát sinh. Thì cái điều đó là em thấy cái sự chia sẻ của cô Sarah thì em thấy rất là tâm đắc với cái ý chia sẻ của cô ạ.
Không muốn đưa ra thêm những cái ý khác nào nữa đúng không?
Vâng, em chỉ đồng ý
okay,
với quan điểm đó.
Okay, so he just said that he agrees with what Sarah said, that when the lay people are confident on the teaching, then they would not kill to offer food to the monks.
Dạ, con xin kính chào bà Achan, bác John và cô Sarah. Dạ, con muốn nghe nhiều hơn về khoảnh khắc hiện tại. Ví dụ như là qua cửa mắt, thì xin quý thầy có thể giảng cho con rõ hơn về cái lộ trình qua cửa mắt, nó gồm những cái tâm gì xin khởi.
Dear Chan, I would like to hear more about the present moment. For example, through the eye door, what are the chittas that arise in the processes through the eye door? Please. Thank you.
So when we hear the word eye door or eye process, actually we're talking about now, this moment. And the point of understanding more about different chittas performing different functions is to understand more now that there are just these different chittas arising, experiencing the object, the visible object, and falling away. No one who can decide what to see, no one who can attend to a particular object, no one who can have good thoughts at will, no one who can stop attachment arising. So before there can be any seeing now, there has to be the citta, which adverts to the object, the color, the visible object that has already impinged on the eye sense. If there is no eye sense, if one is completely blind, or if no visible object has impinged on the eye sense, there cannot be any seeing. And before seeing, there has to be the citta, which adverts to the object, the visible object, to condition the seeing to arise immediately afterwards. So for each citta, there are many conditions. For the seeing conscious now, there must be eye sense. There must be the visible object that's impinged. There must be the citta that arises before it to condition it. And there must have been karma in the past to condition it, because the seeing is a vipaka citta, the result of karma. The citta before it is not a vipaka citta. It's a kiriya, inoperative citta, but the seeing is the result of karma. And it's not enough for that karma just to condition the seeing. Two more cittas follow, which are also the results of karma. So we can learn the names, but for now, let's just consider that after the adverting consciousness, which adverts to that visible object that's impinged on eye sense, the seeing arises to see that visible object. It's the only citta that sees it. The seeing arises and falls away instantly, but the rupa lasts longer than the seeing. It lasts for 17 moments of citta. The visible object hasn't fallen away, so two more vipaka cittas experience that same visible object, and they fall away, and they're followed by one more kiriya citta, not vipaka, not kusala, not akusala. It's the doorway. It's the doorway that makes ready for kusala or akusala cittas to follow. So we're still talking about the eye doorway, the eye process. So there is the adverting consciousness, in Pali, pancha dwara vajana citta, in this case, chaku dwara vajana citta, followed by the seeing consciousness, followed by two more vipaka cittas, followed by the next citta, the Votapana citta, the doorway, and then 7 kusala or akusala cittas follow. So usually, as soon as the visible object's seen, instantly, even in that same doorway, there is ignorance, attachment, straight away, or ignorance, aversion, straight away. 7 moments, and then sometimes 2 more vipaka cittas until the visible object has fallen away. So it's very detailed, but the point is just to understand that there are different cittas arising by different conditions. The condition for the kusala or akusala cittas that arise, as we discussed yesterday, is not past karma, but past habits, past accumulations. So the habit of clinging instantly to what is seen, for example, or having ignorance immediately after what is seen is so deep-rooted. So it arises and it's unknown because it's so subtle, so slight. Like last night during the rain, there was some thunder. I heard some thunder this morning. So even in the eye door process, even in the ear door process, I should say, sound is heard and instantly aversion before any idea what it is, before any impression or thought about thunder, but instantly there is aversion to what is heard. And if it's something pleasant, instantly attachment arises. And only afterwards in the mind or processes there is the thinking about the color, the shape, the form, more clinging, more aversion, and so on. And let me ask you, Bik, why you are interested to hear more about the process.
Dạ, tại vì là theo cái hiểu biết của con là cốt lõi của đạo Phật khác với những tôn giáo còn lại là nói về anatta, vô ngã. Thì con muốn hiểu để biết được vì sao nó vô ngã. Ví dụ như trong quá trình thấy thì bản thân con nghĩ là mình thấy, nhưng mà sau khi nghe giảng thì con biết được là ví dụ như qua cái thấy nó cả một lộ trình, có những cái tâm nó thực hiện những cái phận sự khác nhau. Thì con muốn biết như vậy để mà mình biết được là nó là vô ngã và không phải là một con người thấy, để mình giống như là biết một cái kiến thức mới về Đức Phật dạy cái gì. Yeah.
Because according to my understanding, the core of the Buddha's teaching is about anattanness. So an ordinary person like me usually thinks that it's I who see. But when I can hear about the different chittas in the process of seeing, it becomes clearer that there's no such an I. So my understanding of anattanness is better. So that is kind of, I would like to have more knowledge on what the Buddha's teaching are.
I think we need also to consider more about what the Buddha said was the remedy for wrong idea of self. And it is consistent in all his teachings that he taught different levels of understanding of the present moment realities. So when you said you wanted to know more about, you wanted to ask about the present moment, I thought you might be wanting to talk about seeing or visible object, for example, hearing and sound, because these are the present moment. Whereas the jittas in the sense door process that Sarah gave us in good detail, they are not the present moment for us because they don't appear. And for most of us, well, I'm sure, yes, for most of us in this lifetime, they will not be, never be the present moment. Learning more of the details from the fine workings of the jittas and jetasikas in life will not necessarily bring a better understanding of the teaching on no self, because it is not direct understanding of the present moment which sees the nature of realities as being not self. to put that another way, book knowledge of the details such as those in the Abhidhamma is not itself a condition for a better understanding of what is appearing at the present moment. And we need to keep in mind the difference between those two things. Because only direct understanding can reduce the wrong view of self that has been accumulated in the past. However, there's nothing wrong with having an interest in the details that are in the Abhidhamma. If one has an interest, there's nothing wrong with learning about them and talking about them, discussing them. But we just need to keep in mind that it is supplementary information rather than the kind of direct understanding, or yes, it's not the same as talking about what is appearing at the present moment. Thank you.
Dạ, cho con hỏi thêm đoạn này tí. Regarding to the seeing and the visual object, I would like to have a little bit technical question that the visual object at the moment of the seeing is the impinge in the eye bay. So all the other citta during that process where it's imping about the object. I mean, the seeing see the visual object directly at the eye bay, but the other citta, how it experience the same object. Yeah.
Because, as I mentioned, the visible object itself has already arisen, and then the last bhavanga cittas impinge on it, followed by the Panchadwara Vajjana citta, and then which experiences that visible object that has already arisen, and then the seeing consciousness and the following cittas all experience exactly the same visible object because it hasn't fallen away. Each experience the same visible object performing their different functions. So the Chakudwara Vajjana citta adverts to the visible object, the seeing consciousness sees it, the Sampatichana receives it, Santirana investigates it, and so on. So they all arise, experience exactly the same visible object because it's still there, but perform different functions. So only seeing consciousness has the function to see it. The others cannot see it. And then the kusala or akusala cittas that follow experience the same visible object, but again they have their different functions. The kusala citta has its function of experiencing it in a wholesome way, and so on.
Yeah, I think it makes. I mean the location.
So
same.
The doorway, the dwara, is the same. The eye base, the eye sense, is the doorway for all the cittas in the process, but only the seeing consciousness arises at the eye base. The other cittas experience the same visible object, but they arise at a different base, at the hatu watu, the heart base. So only one citta ever arises at eye base, eye sense, and that is the seeing consciousness. The others experience the visible object, arise at a different base, but the eye sense is still the means, the doorway for them to have arisen. If there had been no eye sense, the visible object couldn't have impinged on the eye sense, and so they couldn't arise, but they rise at a different base.
So visible, I mean the location of the visible object only at the eye base or each?
The visible object, the visible object here, it's not at the eye base, but it impinges on the eye base, yes, and the seeing consciousness arises at the eye base. If there is no eye sense, there cannot be any seeing. So the seeing arises at the eye sense, the hearing arises at the ear sense, but the other chittas in the process arise at a different base. But we cannot say the visible object arises at the eye sense, no.
Sorry, I think in Vietnamese. Chị ơi, chắc em nói tiếng Việt đi chị. Tức là ý em á, là cái đối tượng thị giác thì nó in dấu lên nhãn căn, thì cái tâm thấy nó thấy ở vị trí đấy. Nhưng mà còn những tâm khác vẫn kinh nghiệm cái đối tượng thị giác đấy. Nhưng mà trên cái Hadaya Vatu á, thì ý em là cái đối tượng của thị giác đấy là nó vẫn dựa trên cái nhãn căn hay là ở đây hát cái kia ấy. Thì em chưa thấy cô ấy làm rõ đó.
Okay. So I think the detail he wanted to clarify is that we know that when the Chakku Vijnana experiences the visible object, is it because the visible object has impinged on the eye sense? So now talking about the following moments, according to his understanding, the visible object is still impinging on the eye sense, but the other chitta arise at the Hadaya Vatu. So how come it happens, or can you clarify? Thank you.
The texts don't give the answer to your question. And the reason they don't give the answer is because it's not necessary to know that level of detail. It can only be said that that's the way it happens. Unless you have a particular reason for asking this question.
I'm just curious how, the reason why I say the technical question.
So the other chittas can still experience the visible object because the visible object hasn't fallen away. So we can just say the other chittas, regardless of where they arise. Actually, we know it's at another base, but regardless of where they arise in that same process. So the object has to be exactly the same. So they experience exactly the same visible object because they are arising in that same process.
Yes, but I think he wonders what it means when we say it hasn't fallen away, because it's impinged on the eye base, but other visible objects will be impinging on the eye base after that also.
For that process, that only one visible object can impinge on the eye sense, because the visible object lasts for as long as 17 chittas. So the visible object is still there to be experienced by the other chittas because the eye sense hasn't fallen away and the visible object hasn't fallen away. So the visible object is still there for each chitta in the process to experience it. And then the visible object falls away, so it's not possible for any more chittas to experience it. Big, are you confused? Is it confusing?
Dạ có hiểu một chút.
I understand a little.
So when there's confusion, that is now, that is present reality. So seeing is now, confusion is now. So when we ask about details about processes, and then we start to hear the answer and the details, and there's just doubt and confusion and switching off. So that's life, that's reality. So understanding what appears now, confusion, attachment, thinking of, dreaming of other things, there can be understanding any time, any moment. And that's what is most precious, the understanding at this very moment of just what appears.
So when we say that the visible object impinges on the eye sense, it's mainly to say that it conditions the Bhavanga Chittas to the three Bhavanga Chitta to arise and stops the streams of Bhavanga, and then the other Chitta starts, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that the impinging has to be there or something like that.
We can just say that actually in a day there are just Bhavanga Chittas, life continuum Chittas arising and falling away, and only when they are interrupted can there be other kinds of Chittas arising. And in this case, they are interrupted when visible object impinges on the eye sense, and then the Bhavanga Chittas are interrupted. The visible object impinges on eye sense, as you say, three Bhavanga Chittas, and then there is the adverting to the visible object and all the other Chittas, depending on at what time the visible object impinges on the eye sense, because it may be later, it may be a short process, but usually it's like this, just Bhavanga Chittas, like in deep sleep, until they are interrupted.
Thưa Achan và cô Sara, cho xin hỏi một câu là tại sao ở cái cõi trời sắc giới các vị phạm thiên đó thì vẫn có cái thấy và có cái nghe và cũng có lộ ý sinh hoạt, nhưng mà nó lại không có các cái tâm, nó không có các cái tâm vô nhân, không có tâm vô nhân và cũng không có cái tâm duy tác vô nhân. Vậy thì lấy cái gì để mở cái lộ ý ở trên đó? Yeah.
So he asked the questions on the Rupa Vachara Bhumi. According to his knowledge, in this Bhumi, they're still seeing and hearing, and also other Mayur Chittas. But there's no Ahetuka Chittas. So if there's no Ahetuka Chittas, what is there to advert to the Mayur? I don't know whether he got this information.
Is seeing an Ahetuka Chitta? Is hearing an Ahetuka Chitta? So there are Ahetuka Chittas still arising. So as you say, still seeing, still hearing, still mind-door processes, so still the mind-door adverting consciousness, which is Kiriya Chitta, followed by Kusala or Akusala Chittas. And the reason that there is still just a little seeing, a little hearing, but no smelling, tasting, touching, is because very little attachment to sense objects. So no more conditions for smelling, tasting, touching.
Nhưng mà ở trên đó vẫn có cái thấy và cái nghe, nhưng mà nó lại không có cái không có cái tâm vô nhân, cái cõi sắc giới á, tại sao lại không có để những cái tâm vô nhân đó ở trên đó?
Thì cái thấy với cái nghe là tâm vô nhân.
Dạ, tâm vô nhân, vô nhân quả thiện hay gọi quả bất thiện.
Thì là
Nhưng mà tại sao là cái cõi sắc giới nó không có để cái tâm vô nhân ở đó?
thì thấy và nghe vẫn là tâm vô nhân ạ?
Dạ đúng rồi, tâm vô nhân, nhưng mà cái cõi sắc giới thì không có cái tâm duy tác ở đó, không có để cái tâm duy tác và cũng không có để cái tâm vô nhân, nó chỉ có cái tâm thiện sắc giới. Tâm duy tác sắc giới là duy tác động lực thôi.
Nhưng mà thông tin mà sư nói là lấy từ đâu ạ?
Dạ.
Thông tin sư nói là lấy từ đâu ạ?
Ở trong bản vi diệu pháp chuyện thế ạ. Trong bản vi diệu pháp thì 10 năm tâm sắc giới đó, nó thì trong cái đó cái cõi sắc giới nó chỉ có 10 năm tâm thôi, mà tại sao ở trên đó lại cũng có thấy có nghe, cũng có thấy và
he's
nghe.
based on the diagram made about the Abhidhamma, and he think that in the Rupa Vachara Bhumi there are only 50 kinds of chittas. 15 kinds of chittas.
Hetuka chittas like seeing, hearing, Manodwara Vajana chitta, Panchadwara Vajana chitta. So we could count how many there are. So all the chittas in eye-door process, ear-door process, all the chittas in mind-door process, including the Ahetuka chittas. And I think the other question...
Cái này là Ajahn hiểu lầm. Xin nói là những cái tâm đó là tâm dục giới, phải không nào? Những cái tâm đó là tâm dục giới, ví dụ như là tâm thấy, nghe, ngửi, đếm, đụng và cái
nếu
tâm
mà
duy
nói
tác.
là về cõi, nếu mà sinh ra ở cõi sắc giới thì vẫn có tâm thấy và tâm nghe, thì những tâm đó vẫn là tâm dục giới. Nhưng mà
Tâm
nếu mà
giới,
nói
nhưng
về
mà tại sao nó lại sanh ở đó mà này trên đó, nếu mà nó sanh ở trên sắc giới mà tại sao này không cho nó vào tâm sắc giới?
I think that he has a confusion between the bhumi, which are the realm of chittas, and the bhumi where the different kinds of being live. So that's why he got it confused. Yeah.
The question is, what about now? Can anything be known about the Rupa Vachara chittas now? So I think that back to Big's very first point about this moment, it's so easy to get distracted by details of processes, details of bhumis, details about jhana chittas. So I think Ajahn will be ready to talk about now and understanding what appears now. Let's.
Dạ, con rất là tri ân bác Chôn về câu trả lời vừa rồi, vì câu hỏi của Bích và Cương cũng như Sư á, những cái kỹ thuật và những cái dòng tâm rồi lộ trình tâm hay cõi trời về những cái tâm thiền, con rất là hứng thú và thích những cái kỹ thuật và kiến thức ấy. Nhưng bác Chôn vừa nhắc nhở là tất cả những thứ kiến thức ấy nó không giúp cho sự phát triển hiểu biết đúng, mà bà Sarah vừa nhắc là như cái lo lắng của Bích bây giờ nó là thực và nó có thể được hiểu, hay cái thấy, cái nghe, thì con lại muốn Ajahn nhắc nhở thêm cho con về cái là thực như là cái lo lắng hay là thấy nghe, bởi vì nó sẽ là cái duy nhất để phát triển hiểu biết đúng ạ. Con cảm ơn.
Said that just now our friends asked technical questions on the different chitta processes, or on the different bhumis, and on the details about the visible object and different kinds of chitta arising at different bases. Myself, I'm usually very excited with this kind of information, but I'm also very grateful that John and Sarah pointed out that actually these questions cannot lead to understanding of what appears now. And it's very helpful when Sarah mentioned that the confusion, the worries now for Big, for example, are real and it can be known. So it would be helpful to have Ajahn help us to understand more about the realities at this moment. Thank you.
So, what can be known now?
Dạ, như con được học thì những thứ là thực, như là nếu không có cái thấy thì không có cái biết về những quang cảnh ở đây ạ.
According to what we have learned, without the seeing, for example, there would be nothing appears, like different objects or people here.
Not according to what you learn, but the truth, what can be known now. You have learned a lot. And now, what can be known?
Vâng. Cái nghe ạ. Con đang nghe ạ.
Hearing.
Hearing. Is it known yet?
Dạ. Chưa ạ.
Not yet.
That's true. And it is only Panya which knows. We talk about hearing, and there's hearing right now, but hearing is not known yet as it is. So what is hearing?
Dạ, hiện tại thì phải có cái nghe, nó kinh nghiệm âm thanh thì con mới biết về bà đang nói ạ.
So now there has to be the hearing consciousness that arises so that I can know about what you say.
What is hearing?
Là một đặc tính kinh nghiệm.
Is what experiences? Is that which experiences?
We are talking about hearing. Is this the moment of understanding hearing or realizing the nature of hearing? It's real. It has reason. It's gone. Not known yet. What is hearing? Just talk about it. While there is hearing, talk about hearing. To understand hearing as it is, little by little. If we don't talk about hearing right now and talk about other things, how can they be conditioned to begin to understand hearing as we have heard? So to be truthful to the truth, no understanding of the nature of hearing as we have heard yet. Just heard about it. And now there's hearing, no understanding the characteristic of hearing. Even it's there, and we learned about it, talked about it, but when it's there, it's not known yet, because the understanding of the nature of what is there is not enough. We just be interested in the story of hearing and about other things, but what about now? How can there be the understanding developed little by little until it appears to be known like what is now appearing, but it's not known as it is? Learn to understand the truth that is so very subtle, and that is the only way to let go, clinging, ignorance, taking it for something. Even right now, I hear. I is there when there's no understanding of the truth. That's why it takes quite a long, long time to be truthful to the truth. Such a parami to each reality and each word of the truth. For example, Dhamma, see, when one is asked what is seeing, some might say, Dhamma or Dhamma, only Dhamma. Is that enough? Dhamma. But what is that very Dhamma? Not the other Dhamma. One by one is conditioned to arise, not at anyone's will, or no one can make it arise. It's there already, but it is ignored already, just thinking about other things. That's why the teachings of the Buddha about what is there to be known as condition to get closer and closer, in Pali term, opanayiko, closer to understand the truth of each different reality, each what it's meant. We have to learn more, each nimitta of our reality. So learn about understanding the words of the Buddha, all are in the Tipitaka, because Buddha said, what appears appear by nimitta of that particular reality. For now, how many moments of seeing? To be truthful, unknown. So many moments of seeing right now is not yet known. And how can it be known? Not by anyone, but the understanding of the subtlety of what is now appearing, but no understanding of the truth of it. It means that what is there is so very subtle, because even is there, no understanding of it. That's why begin not to underestimate the teachings of the Buddha, just one word, until it's Dhammadra, that which is understood, never be forgotten. But not just the name. What is that? Dhamma? What is a Dhamma? What is attached Dhamma? No understanding of each Dhamma as Dhamma at all. Just use the word Dhamma as the answer. It seems like there's the understanding of Dhamma, but in truth, Dhamma is heard and just follow the others' understanding, like the Buddha's understanding. But even just Dhamma, Dhamma is Dhamma. He didn't say someone or something, but whatever is real, no matter what, is real. So it's a reality, conditioned to arise, for sure. From that, some words about the truth. What about daily life? Now, whatever is there is conditioned. Seeing, hearing, hunger, attachment, like, dislike. Every moment in daily life, all are Dhammas. So learning Dhamma is moment of beginning to understand the truth of what is there in a moment, only in a moment, not all together as Dhamma. See, no understanding of Dhamma, just use the word Dhamma. But when there is the understanding of Dhamma, many degrees, many levels of understanding. For now, hearing about what is meant by Dhamma, not the word, but what is there right now and anytime. What is real at that moment is Dhamma. It has its characteristic to be known, that it's the other reality. Anger is not attachment, it's not pleasant feeling. And memory now remembers all moments. Seeing, there must be a reality which remembers what? That which is their experience. Otherwise, how can it remember what is what later? But Buddha taught for 45 years, not just the name or just the word to be understood, but the characteristic of a reality has to be known until every moment in daily life, so natural, no doubt about the characteristic of what is there right now or then or any time. And at moment of seeing, hearing about seeing, Do we have to say seeing? Or understand what is meant now about seeing right now? Just only one moment, one reality, seeing. Who knows that seeing now is conditioned by not just one or two conditions? Unbelievable. It seems like it's there already. But without conditions, nothing can arise. That's why the Dhammas would have said, all Sankhara Dhamma, Anicca, arise and falls away. Dukkha or dukkha, is it enjoyable, satisfactory, before they're seeing, no seeing, and then seeing, and then no seeing, all gone, never to arise again. This is the beginning to understand the nature of reality, that whatever arises falls away instantly. The subtlety is now whatever is appearing, gone instantly, replaced by the next one, by conditions. We learn to understand what condition what, in order to have confidence of the truth of Dhamma as Dhamma. So we learn from hearing, considering, the beginning to know that without the eye base, there can never be seeing. And we say that she is blind or he is blind, because no reality which can be conditioned for seeing to arise. And that we call it the eye or the eye base. Without it, just without that, seeing now cannot arise. Seeing cannot arise at all. So who makes it? Who controls it? Oh, it's the way it is, only by conditions. From now on, begin from hearing, begin from seeing to hearing, and every moment in life. No moment thinking about what has been heard. We just enjoy life and think about that which is there as something, not as just a reality. So how long it will take for confidence to be parami, factors or supporter for panya, right understanding, to develop each moment of understanding right now, to experience the truth, the world of hidden truth, to understand what is hidden. Seeing now is hidden. It arises and falls away. It's hidden. No moment of realizing it, but it's true, it's there. So the moment to understand seeing is the moment when seeing is there. But now seeing is there. We think about a lot all the time about other things by conditions. Who can make right understand what is there now, because next moment hasn't come yet, and the previous one gone. So what can be known is only just when it's there, appearing. Now, no one knows, because it's just the beginning to understand. Dhammas is Dhamma. What does it mean? A reality. Hardness is a reality. Sound is a reality. Smell a reality. So no, even there are so many realities, Buddha taught to be conditioned to letting go the idea of wrong understanding and ignorance of the truth of what is there now, to develop gradually, not by eye. No way to do, no eye to do, because each moment is conditioned. even thinking about going somewhere, doing something, or just ordinary life, shopping and so on. Each moment is conditioned, arises and gone, unknowingly, without the teachings of the enlightened one, who can discern the truth of that which now arises and falls away. Will there be tomorrow? Or there is only this moment? See, there has to be tomorrow. Why? Because this moment gone. Each moment's gone. From moment to moment, until what we take, it's tomorrow, next day. But in truth, seeing today, or seeing yesterday, or seeing tomorrow, just arise and falls away. Is that right?
Dạ, con vô cùng tri ân Achan và các bậc thầy. Chắc là nơi con không phải chỉ là nghe về Pháp mà đã sinh khởi một chút suy xét về cái là thực. Như vậy thì tất cả những cái từ sơ khởi của người mới bắt đầu cũng là nghe về sự thật và bắt đầu khởi điểm để hiểu về nó. Và rồi những vị học cao như chúng con học nhiều năm, hay như là các thầy ở đây hay Achan, cũng chỉ là để càng ngày càng hiểu hơn về từng khoảng khắc của Pháp. Đấy mới là cách thức học những gì mà Đức Phật đã giác ngộ. Nên con vô cùng hoan hỉ về cái điều Achan giảng hôm nay ạ. Con tri ân.
Thank you so much, and I think listening to you, some consideration with understanding arises, and I think that in the end, listening about the truth of the realities now is what is necessary for everyone, even for people who have studied a lot, like the teachers here. Also, like us, we all have to listen about the truth at this moment. Thank you.
Who remembered the word of truth we had talked about yesterday? Because it's not to be remembered, but to understand. No matter when we read or talked, just to understand. So now yesterday we talked about Dhamma, and today we talk about Dhamma, and there is Dhamma every moment. So that it is quite the reminder not to forget. This very moment can be known. But why it's not known yet? Not enough understanding of the truth, of the characteristic, of the reality, but just remember the story about it. So it has to be when there are conditions to understand the teachings of the Buddha, so very subtle. After his enlightenment, what he said, all Dhammas are so very subtle. After his enlightenment, the truth is that before his enlightenment, how long the Buddha to be developed parami, seeing the danger of ignorance, attachment, and all kinds of akusala, that all kinds of akusala cannot understand what is there right now. Ignorance is opposite of right understanding. So the one who listen to the teaching, respect the teachings so much, because each word is the beginning to the end of understanding What is there right now? From one word, on and on and on. Just talk about what is there right now, depending on how much confidence of Panya will condition, not just heard about the truth and understood the meaning, but begin to understand that which is now appearing. It's not yet known directly. Begin to understand how deep it is, seeing right now. Arises and falls away by condition. Why Buddha taught about it? Because it's so true that any moment of understanding will get closer to the truth of what is now just one reality or one nimitta of our reality arises and falls away. The beginning. And this is the beginning of the second round. Without the first round of the Arya Satya, how can there be the second round? So now, when there's no direct awareness with understanding, which we had developed gradually from moment to moment, even it's there now, no understanding. That's why we learn more about each word of truth. What is there now? Who knows? The nature of seeing is a reality. It's so real. It's conditioned to arise, to see only, just to see. What does it mean? Experiences. What is there? Only. No attachment. So each reality has its own characteristic. That's why we learn a little more of the subtle Dhamma, Abhidhamma. Dhamma is real, right? It has its own characteristic to be known that it's real. Seeing right now is real. It's a reality. It's a Dhamma. Nobody can change its characteristic. That's why each Dhamma is Paramadda Dhamma, the ultimate truth. Nobody can change seeing to be hearing, to be thinking, to be attachment. Begin to understand the quality of Dhamma, that it is Paramadda Dhamma. Even now it's there, arising and falling away. It's quite a long, long time to develop the understanding at the moment when it's there, to get closer, before there can be the moment of realizing the truth, that that which appears arises by nimitta and fall away, all by nimitta. And what does nimitta mean? It's just the sign, the mark of one reality. Seeing how many moments? Uncountable. So now, uncountable. Why is uncountable? It says whatever in this room. It seems like in a moment or instantly. So understand what it's meant by a moment from the Buddha's enlightenment. Not just 1 second, split seconds of split seconds of split seconds. So learn to understand how deep Dhamma is. It's not just listen and remember the number and what is taught, but the more understanding, just one word is so very deep, very subtle, like Dhamma. See, we learn just few words about Dhamma. What about today? What are there? Not just only one moment of seeing. All other moments are real, different ones by condition, just arise and fall away, never to return, never to arise again. And that is the meaning of Ariya Satya Dhamma. Dhamma is Satya Dhamma. And the one who realizes the truth is the one who has great wisdom to realize the truth. And no doubt at all about what is there. Now there's doubt about the arising and falling away of seeing and of the moment, because not understanding enough that the path, the understanding to develop, to be accumulated, is quite so long to just touch the ignorance, the enormous ignorance and attachment accumulated from life to life, years and years and years ago. And what did Buddha say before he passed away? Not be heedless of the truth. So, listen to each word of truth very carefully. That now, what is there is just by condition. No matter it's pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, attachment or irritation, or even doubt, whatever is there is conditioned. And no one there. This is the way to let go wrong understanding, clinging to that which appears unknowingly, from slightly to the moment when it appears, I like this very much. But who likes? See, and what is that? The world of hidden truth, the world of atta. But Buddha said, from his enlightenment, all dhammas are anatta. It has to be understanding what is that in daily life, naturally. Each moment is conditioned. Each moment is anatta. Just be there and then gone. From nothing, be something, and then nothing again. Each moment in samsara, and samsara is the arising and falling away of the conditioned reality, non-stop, not in anyone's control at all, right now. So the moment of listening to any Dhamma, begin to understand the subtlety of that reality. We talk about seeing. It seems like no doubt about seeing. But is there any understanding of seeing right now? Not just a story, but seeing is there now. Is there any understanding of seeing? And how can it be realized? Because not what Buddha said, not just to be understood, not to remember, but to realize the truth as he has realized, but after years and years of all kind of parami. So parami, where's parami? Where is parami? We talk about parami, but where's the parami? What is there in daily life? Without understanding, no parami to understand the truth. But when there is the understanding of the truth enough, it conditions even some moments of thinking about what is said. Painful feeling usually is taken for I, and the idea of wanting it to be healed and so on. But in truth, after listening and understanding, it's by condition. It's a reality, beginning to understand the reality in daily life, not just in the book, or not just only at moment listening considering, but it's that very moment. So we think a lot in a day. Can you exchange your thought with me? No, impossible, because each moment of thinking also conditioned. That's why people have different ideas, different like or dislike. All are dhammas until one day or someday or any day they are conditioned to think about. And then not only thinking, it's there appearing. Not only think about when it does not appear, but think about the moment when it's there. In the beginning, from none at all, no matter while one is watching, eating, any moment, all are there in its Dhamma, arising and falling all the time. And then death, everything gone. No memory is this life, no memory of past life, what had been done, no memory. Where are you from? To be this person in this life. And what will you be next life? Even it's not anyone, but there are conditions to be only that personality of that person. You cannot borrow or ask the others karma to condition birth consciousness or what now sees or hears. That's why learning to understand life. Not any moment of seeing anything. It's the result of karma. So the karma condition, the moment of birth, to hear by other accumulated karma, which can be possible to condition result in this life. For a cat or an ant, what about their accumulation? After that, born as deva or human being by karma. No choice. When one karma is ready, it performs the function of rebirth or birth after death. For the other accumulated karma, ayuhana, to be moment of condition, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. So learn to understand any moment of seeing is the result of karma. So when it's wholesome karma, the object which is pleasant, which is experienced, is pleasant. Can you make any choice? Because it's already arisen by conditions, by karma. This is the beginning to understand the reality, not just in word, but in daily life. Is that the answer for your question?
Dạ, đúng là như thế ạ. Phải nghe và khởi điểm của sự suy xét được bắt đầu ạ.
And it's the answer for any moment, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. That's why after seeing different ideas, for each individual one by accumulation,
Thank you so much, Achan and John and Sarah. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dạ vâng.